Hello again. This video is supposed to help you understand the directions for the interesting interactions assignment, which is number 2 today. So you do this after you have finished the other paper we've been using all week. Okay. So now you can get a paper copy of interesting interactions from the front of the room, or you can see that it is also right here if you like to type on things. Either way, make sure you turn it in. Whether if it's paper, you put it in the turn in folder. If it's on here, you have to share with me. So let's look at what this assignment is asking us to do. Okay, so here we go. It says interesting interactions. Scientists use food webs like the one pictured on the right, you guys know food webs, to show relevant interactions in an ecosystem. However, food webs don't show the complex interactions that occur between two specific species in an ecosystem. To investigate patterns in these individual interactions, Professor Ian Alexander from the University of Aberdeen created the interaction model below. You will be using this model to classify a number of interesting interactions in the natural world. So I have a sample right here, an example below that I want to go through with you, okay? So each one of these is going to show you what you can see here from this one. It's going to show you the two species involved, okay? Here we have a sea anemone and a clownfish. You've heard this every day this week, hopefully. So you're hopefully starting to get the sea anemone thing and the clownfish. And you have some text description, just like we've practiced this week. And what it wants you to do is it wants you to read this, also maybe look at the picture, and then come down here and complete the model to describe the interaction that's happening. So species A and species B. Here, all you have to do is list the two different species that are in the title and in the text that they are talking about. Okay, pretty easy. So what you have to do in the effect boxes right here is the same thing you practiced on assignment for independent practice. You have to say what they are needing, getting, or if they are benefited, if they are hurt, if they are not affected. So remember, our 3 types of symbiosis. They're either getting something, so it's helpful, whatever's happening in this interaction with another species is helping them, or it's hurting them, or it's not affecting them. So you have to say what's happening for each species in the interaction with the other species. And then you have to come over to this little model here and you have to connect species A and species B by drawing a line from the correct descriptor here with the correct descriptor here. So let's go through it together. So it says, the clownfish and the sea anemone in the video to the left interact in an interesting way. The clownfish protects the anemone from predators and parasites. The clownfish also eats fragments of food not eaten by the anemone. The tentacles of the anemone secrete toxins which are used to kill prey fish. However, the clownfish is not affected by the toxin and is protected while hiding in the tentacles. In addition, the nitrogen excreted by the clownfish, his waste when he goes to the bathroom, it nourishes the anemone. Okay? So when we look at these things, we come down here and we list our first species. We have a clownfish, and we say, all right, well, what is he getting? He's getting protection while hiding in the tentacles, and he's also getting some extra food. And then for species B, we kind of rephrase what it says up here. The sea anemone. So you go up and you're like, oh, where does it talk about the sea anemone? Oh, right here. So you kind of say what happens with the sea anemone. It's protecting the clownfish is protecting the anemone from predators and parasites, and it's getting nourishment from its nitrogen. So you can kind of see here, let's see if I can use this pen. So the clownfish's effect on the sea anemone is written down here. Okay, so this clownfish, this is what he's doing, and it's affecting the sea anemone. And the sea anemone, what it's doing is being written up here as the effect on the clownfish. Okay, so that's why it looks like that. Now, over here, you come and you're like, okay, species A. So I wrote down clownfish for species A. And what I wrote down that's happening to the clownfish is it's getting something. It's getting a benefit. It's getting protection. It's getting extra food. So I know right away that that's a positive thing. Okay. Then I come down here and I look at species B, which is my sea anemone. And I look at what's happening to the sea anemone. I'm like, okay, it's getting protection from the predators of that from the clownfish, and it's getting nourishment. So it's getting nutrients from the nitrogen. Those both sound like good things. So I see that this is also a positive thing. So that's why then I draw my arrow to connect those there. Okay. So we're going to do another one together that's blank so you can kind of see what you're supposed to do. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. So this is interaction A, and you're welcome to copy this onto your paper if you would like. I'm not going to type out everything, but I'll say it. So here we have an eel, and we have this little fish called a wrasse, which might be hard to see on the paper. But if you look on here, you can see the color. So it says, a giant moray eel being cleaned by a blue streak cleaner wrasse. The wrasse eats parasites and dead tissue off the skin of the eel. The eel recognizes the smaller wrasse and will position its body for optimum cleaning. The eel will not eat the wrasse. Giant moray eels are predators of small fish. They have been observed helping coral groupers, another marine fish, hunt. Okay, so let's do this step by step here. So we have two species. It's kind of listed for you right here, eel and a fish called a wrasse. So if you come down here and in this box, you write one of the species. Maybe you start with eel. Okay, so if I put the eel here, or I'm gonna put an E for eel. Let's see if I can do how I do with this pen. Okay, so that's my first thing. So like what is being happened to him as we write here? Okay, so we write he's being cleaned by the blue streak cleaner wrasse, or you can just put he's being cleaned by the wrasse. Okay, that's an effect. Okay, you can also put that the wrasse is eating parasites and dead tissue off its skin. So there's two things here that's happening. This is one and this is two. Okay, so you're writing both of those things that we just underlined up there. All right, now you're halfway through. So you can pause this video and write those two things there. Okay, so I assume you're back and you're looking for species B, which is our wrasse fish, right? Starts with a W. So what is happening to this fish? So we come back up here and we look and we see, the eel recognizes the wrasse. He's letting it clean it. He's not going to eat it, even though he's a predator of small fish. Is the wrasse getting anything out of this? Well, it looks like the wrasse is getting food from the eel, and he's not getting eaten. So down here, you would write this. He's getting food from the eel. Okay. Oops, sorry, overlap. Okay. So that's the second part of this. Okay, so you can stop the video again if you need to write those things down. We've got our eel, our wrasse. We've got our information from our text. Now, third part, you come over here and you look and you're like, species A, that's my eel. So from what we wrote down about the eel, it looked like he was getting some good things. He was getting like a nice exfoliation because the wrasse is eating all the parasites and the dead tissue. So he's being cleaned. So that's a positive. So the plus sign is a positive. Okay. Then we look at the eel, what we wrote for the eel right here. And what we wrote for the eel is that it's getting food. Okay. The parasites and the dead tissue. So any organism getting food, that's a positive thing. So I see that each species is getting something positive. So I draw my arrow from the plus sign in benefit to the other plus sign benefit. Okay. So that's your answer. Those are your answers for interaction A. Now, remember, this is mutualism, so there are other things that are happening. If something is being harmed, that's a negative, and that's where you would use these other ones. And if something is not being affected, like commensalism, that's where you would use this one. Okay? So that leaves you with, on your packet, I left out a couple. So in your packet, you have B, the mouse and the millet, And then you should skip to E, which is something called a viceroy and a monarch. And then you have F, the algae and fungi. Then you have G and you have H. Okay, these are mammals that maybe we thought, oh, aren't they predators and prey? How do they have some sort of relationship? Or are they both predators? Might they have a symbiotic relationship? Okay, if you're doing the paper copy, you will notice that C is not copied in there, and nor is D. So you do not have to do those if you are doing this online. Okay. You might grab a paper copy for reference. There is enough for everyone in case that is confusing in any way. You will see exactly which ones you need to do. So I hope that that explains the assignment a little better. Again, you can send me an email, and if I have like a break in my meeting, I can respond to it, or I can help you more on Friday. Good luck.